In the latest question and answer session on Kubo's official fan club Klub Outside, he hinted at some insane information about a possible crossover between Bleach and Burn the Witch. This topic is no longer fan speculation anymore, as Kubo has finally shared what he thinks about a potential crossover between the world of Bleach and Burn the Witch. Over the years, fans have been piecing together a lot of information, like Ichigo's mysterious profession as an English translator, then his confirmed studies within the UK, and the increasingly obvious connections between the Eastern branch of the Soul Society and the Western branch. In this video, I'll be deep diving into everything that Kubo has revealed on Klub Outside. I'll be looking at every single piece of evidence which has led up to this moment, and I'll be exploring what this means for the future of Bleach and Burn the Witch. Hopefully by the end of this video, you'll understand why a crossover between these two series has been in the works for quite a long time. In question 787 asked on Kubo's fan club Klub Outside, a fan had wondered what are the chances for an adult Ichigo to travel to London for work and him having an unexpected encounter with the Shinigami or even operatives of Wingbind. Kubo responded by saying that this is something that he may want to draw somewhere in the future eventually, so for at the moment it is a secret for now. Kubo wording his answer by saying that this is something that he wants to draw in the future isn't him just being secretive, it is him actively planning how to incorporate such a scenario into a future story. When an author says that something might happen in future content, they are usually protecting spoilers for material that is already in development. And then when you look at Kubo saying that this is a secret for now, he doesn't use this word lightly. This confirms that a crossover between the two worlds exists in some stage of development, and it also means that he is contractually or strategically bound to not say any more. The statement builds directly on Kubo's previous reveal through Klub Outside, which had stated that Ichigo studied English in the UK. Kubo had confirmed Ichigo's profession as an English translator specifically to create a believable reason for him to be in London on business in the future. It's great that Kubo has already established Ichigo's connection to England many years ago, and he has developed an entire spin-off series set within London's supernatural underground, and he is now confirming that these weren't separate creative decisions. They were all building towards an inevitable crossover between Bleach and Burn the Witch when Ichigo eventually goes to London. What's clever about Kubo's planned universe expansion of Bleach lies in how naturally Burn the Witch integrates with the established lore of the series. Both Burn the Witch and Bleach have their own versions of the Soul Society. The Eastern branch is centered in the Serete. It follows the traditional Shinigami model that we know from Bleach, with the Gote 13 managing the balance of souls between the world of the living and the Soul Society, and with Hollows as their primary threat. Wingbind is the military division of the Western branch of the Soul Society, but there are some differences with the structure of that organization. Wingbind has more of a modern corporate structure with specialized divisions like Pipers, Sabers, and Inks. Each division handles specific aspects of dragon management, from conservation to combat. There are notable differences even with the magic systems between the different worlds, as Shinigami use Kido, which are numbered spells rooted in Japanese tradition, and these are often requiring lengthy incantations and precise spiritual energy manipulation. On the other hand, while Wingbind's magic is still numbered, it is adapted for Western audiences. Bruno's spray paint incantations represent street art culture, while the general spellcasting feels more accessible and immediate than traditional Kido. Another fascinating point that I love to bring up with these two series is that the Bleach Hell one-shot chapter as well as Burn the Witch occur approximately 12 years after the 1000-year Blood War arc. This does create a perfect window for a crossover event, and I don't think that this is coincidental timing. Aside from these surface level similarities, both Wingbind and the Gote 13 deal with supernatural threats that humans are unable to see. Both groups maintain secrecy about their operations, and both have complicated relationships with their respective human populations. Now, there is a difference with Reverse London being very well integrated with Front London, as this suggests more of a symbiotic relationship than the Eastern branch of the Soul Society Society's traditional separation from the world of the living. Kubo has played the long game when it comes to the character development of Ichigo. If you remember, at the end of Volume 1, he had included a very small detail about Ichigo's respect for William Shakespeare. This establishes Ichigo's love for English literature since the very first volume of the series, and it seems like this had inspired his future university studies and his eventual career as a translator. So it makes sense that Ichigo develops a natural reason for him to have a deep connection with British culture and language. Ichigo literally acts as a bridge between the worlds with his profession as a translator. It's similar to how Ichigo is a bridge between the world of the living and the Soul Society, and then thanks to his genetic makeup, he is a bridge between the different races that exist within the Bleach universe. The fact that it's been confirmed that Ichigo had studied in England takes this step further. Ichigo would have been immersed in the same British culture as Noelle and Nini, and his studies would have occurred between the gap between the 1000-Year Blood War arc and the current timeline where Hell Arc and Burn the Witch are supposed to take place. There is an interesting narrative mirror between Ichigo and Noelle which creates a perfect crossover opportunity. While Ichigo studies British culture and literature, Noelle on the other hand is obsessed over Japanese culture from her position in Reverse London. Both characters have a deep appreciation for each other's homelands. The timing for a crossover couldn't be better, as Bleach is experiencing a massive renaissance with the 1000-Year Blood War arc anime adaptation. Core 3 had ended just a few months ago and Core 4 is anticipated for 2026. The anime has really revitalized global interest for Bleach, bringing both returning fans and newcomers into the franchise. Burn the Witch sits in an equally advantageous position as season 2 of the manga has been confirmed, but this was years ago and the series has demonstrated a strong audience engagement despite its limited initial run. And then Burn the Witch had its very own anime adaptation which had successfully introduced the world to a broader audience. This proves that Kubo's expansion of the Bleach universe had resonated with new and existing Bleach fans. Studio Pierrot rebranding to Pierrot Films and their focus on high quality production also creates a perfect environment for a crossover animated series between Bleach and Burn the Witch. Their success with the 1000-Year Blood War arc anime adaptation proves that they are more than capable of delivering. The Hell Arc one-shot also exists in the same 12-year post-war timeline as Burn the Witch, which means that a crossover could be centered around the realm of Hell, and how troubling events that are taking place there may pull together the different branches of the Soul Society in order to work together to restore the balance of reality. Imagine if Ichigo arrives in London for a work assignment, and while there he encounters possibly a hollow, and he transforms into his Shinigami form with high spiritual pressure immediately disrupting the delicate balance that Wingbind maintains in Reverse London. It would result in dragons, which are highly empathic creatures, reacting intensely to someone with the level of Ichigo's spiritual energy. Noelle and Nini may initially respond to what appears to be an unprecedented dragon behavior crisis, only to discover that the source is a single individual whose spiritual pressure dwarfs anything that they have ever experienced before. From Wingbind's perspective, Ichigo represents both a potential catastrophe and a fascinating anomaly which would need to be investigated. Wingbind operates with autonomy from the eastern branch of the Soul Society, as they've developed their own protocols and procedures over centuries. So Ichigo's appearance, especially if he manifests his Shinigami powers, it may trigger some tensions between the different branches. Does the eastern branch hold any authority over the western branch? How on earth would the two different branches of the Soul Society reconcile their differences if Ichigo ends up being a problem between them? Ichigo's interactions with dragons will be very interesting, since the eastern branch of the Soul Society eliminates any and all supernatural threats like the Hollows, but Wingbind have more of a nuanced approach as they conserve beneficial dragons while eliminating dark dragons. If Ichigo were in a position where he had to use his Shinigami powers, then he could potentially influence dragon behavior across all of London, thus potentially making him a #1 target for Wingbind to eliminate. I've spoken about a 10-year plan for Bleach content in an earlier video on the channel, so rather than simply extending the original Bleach series, Kubo seems to be constructing an interconnected universe which can support multiple ongoing storylines that all take place within the same world. This mirrors successful media franchises that use crossovers to strengthen individual properties rather than overshadowing them. A crossover between the eastern and western branches means that a possible north and south branch of the Soul Society also exists. Kubo may be laying groundwork for a truly global supernatural universe, with each region developing unique approaches approaches to spiritual balance based upon their cultural foundations. I for one am very confident for the future of Bleach and Burn the Witch. I also think that Kubo is secretly working on the Hell Arc, and I'm inclined to believe that the Hell Arc will have elements of Burn the Witch incorporated into it, as I think that the catastrophe boiling over in Hell will affect every single branch of the Soul Society. Also, Urahara's role will be interesting, as it seems like as early as chapter 50, he has been aware of the existence of different branches of the Soul Society. So yeah, Ichigo being interested in Shakespeare in chapter 1, Urahara mentioning the different branch offices of the Soul Society in chapter 50, it seems like Kubo has been planning a broader universe since the conception of the Bleach manga. But yeah, we have now reached the point of the video where I want to hand over the discussion to all of you. What are all of your thoughts about a possible Bleach and Burn the Witch crossover? What do you think about Kubo's recent answer on the topic on Klub Outside? And lastly, thank you for making it to the end of this one, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video.
A massive thank you goes out to all of my amazing Patreon supporters for helping to make this video possible. If you also want to support the channel and see your name in the end of my videos, then check out my Patreon, which has loads of perks like early video access and so much more. Thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.